So Lucy is a Beta 300RR with the oil injection. She has new feet on her. I just put on new shoes this morning, and I put the golden 216 AA on the front and the Sedona 907 on the rear. We're going to try those out to see if they work better in the sand. Now, I'm a guy that likes to play a lot, so I do things on my bikes just to see how they react and how I like them and that sort of thing. So let's start at the front, and actually up here there's not a whole lot that I've done differently. I did put these fork gaiters on, which if you look right there you can see the scratches from somebody falling down. Also put on these sand, they're called socks, shock socks, and they keep the sand and stuff out of those seals, so that helps a bunch. When I had Lucy made, I had the tubeless system put on, and I love it because I run 6 to 8 pounds in the front and usually 4 to 5 pounds in the rear of air pressure. I've got a Force skid plate, radiator guards, and I think there's something else, but I can't remember. And I also put on a P3 carbon fiber pipe guard, because before I put the pipe guard on, I put a little ding in it, and so I thought, well, I'll just protect the whole thing. I've also gone to steg pegs, and the main reason for those was I do like the pivoting action, but I also switched them side to side so that they're back 10 millimeters, and that makes them go down about 10 millimeters. And even with my short legs, that helped a whole bunch. The skid guard for the lower shock linkage is one of Slavin's pieces. Works really well, no problems. I have the adjustable shock, so on the rear shock all I have to do is use a 8mm wrench and it'll change preload and sag and all of that good stuff. On the rear, just the normal shark fin, and everything else is basically the same. I did have to go with a different muffler because the bike came with just a regular muffler, although FMF, a full FMF system, but it didn't have a spark arrestor, so I bought one, just the silencer with the spark arrestor. I also have put on the steg pegs, which I really like. They help my legs a whole bunch, and I've got a right knee problem that makes a big difference with. The shift lever is actually off of a Honda CR250R, not the L, the R, and it's an inch shorter than what the, well, 3/4 of an inch to an inch than what the stock Beta one is. And with my small feet, it works out really great for me. I added a fuel filter separate from everything else that's on here. The other Force piece is the linkage guard, the chain guard. And as you can see there, that is a different carburetor. That's the Electron. Now, to do the Electron, since they have not gotten the throttle position sensor set up yet, I've gone with the older style, and I've blocked off my oil injection system, just doing it very easily, just taking off the hose, blocking the tank, and disconnecting the pump. And then when the cable comes out, the cable system for the TPS, I can bolt that on and go back to the oil injection, which I do enjoy because you don't have to do the mixing, and it's just quick and easy. And the Electron works great. It's one of the best carburetors I've ever used, and I've used it on a lot of different motorcycles, used them on a lot of different motorcycles. This hole here in the guard is for my Recluse. I like the idea of the Recluse with automatic. It can be used clutch or clutchless. The shifting is seems to be better. I don't miss very many gears, and I like the idea of being able just to stop and not have to worry about clutching it and that sort of thing. So far I haven't had any real problems on hills and such. It pulls like gangsters going up, so I'm liking that. And of course, the older I get, the more I like stuff to fiddle with and play with. Front brake guard, just the typical stuff there, and nothing on the wheels or anything of that sort. I did put the Acer lever guards on. I've got a steering damper, which is the Scott, and I like it, especially around the Louisiana sand trails, because that sand can be so thick and can just take the bars out of your hand in an instant. I also have done a single rear left brake. That's the Clake unit. And what I've done with that is I've totally, if you look down there, there is no brake pedal. I totally removed the brake pedal, and I used the Clake as my clutch, and I switched the lines around and took the rear brake to my left hand, normally where your clutch would be. So my function is I can pull this with one hand, and I can pull, or one finger, and I can pull this one with one finger. And I like the rear brake a lot, so I use it a lot to go into turns and that sort of thing. I put an hour meter on it just to keep track, so it's easier to do for services on the transmission. And I had a tool pack on it, but the clip broke last time when I had a pretty good crash. I haven't been riding for a little over a week because my I hit a rock with the front wheel, and it threw me into an embankment, and the impact broke off the bolt that holds on the right side lever protectors, and that was at the same time it sent my arm into my chest, and I thought for sure I had broken some ribs, but it ends up I'm just got a deep bone bruise and a deep muscle bruise on my diaphragm, so I haven't been able to ride for a little bit. So I just put the new feet on and that sort of thing while I was down on sick leave. So I did change the headlight bulb and went to a stronger one, and I also made a switch to turn it off and on, so that when I start her, I have the lights off and then I turn them on. Also, I always kickstart, which the betas come with. I kickstart in the morning, my first fire up, when it's cold, and that just kind of helps the battery live a little bit better. Other than that, she's stock engine with that carburetor. She pulls like a gangbuster, and the bike just works really well. I did lower it, or had it lowered 1 inch, because I've only got a 29-inch inseam, and that makes it tough on these tall dirt bikes. But the way it's working right now, it's doing pretty good. She handles good. I've got somewhat good foot coverage where I can put my leg down and actually touch the ground. But I have fallen over like the old laugh-in guy on the bicycle or tricycle, and I think it was Artie Johnson, where I stop and to take a rest and just put my leg down, and boop, there's no land underneath me, so I go flopping over on the side. Anyway, that's Lucy, and she's a jewel. She works really well. These things, the sliders, I had those off today, and man, they have protected that fork. It looks like brand new. So some of this stuff may look like it's not worth putting on and it's not a big deal, but everything I try to do is functional. And right now she's working great. So that's all for now. Thanks for watching.